The anime begins with our protagonist, Yuki Amano, running for his life. No matter where he runs, his classmate Yuno arrives there before him. He enters an elevator to escape from her, but Yuno also arrives there. As she approaches him, Yuki in panic starts wondering where things went wrong. We go back 1 week ago. Yuki is a school student who has zero social life and spends most of his time observing things around him and writing them in his diary. Apart from this, he talks with 2 of his imaginary friends. First is Deus, who is supposedly a god that governs time and space. And the second is Murmur, who is his servant. Just like it, every day he spends his time like this. One day, Deus asks Yuki if he will take part in an interesting game that will fill his life with excitement. Yuki, believing it's an imagination, doesn't give it much of a thought and agrees. The next day, he wakes up and notices there are some weird entries written in his diary about how he will hit double bullseye in 2 minutes and how he'll see the news about a serial killer in 10 minutes. Yuki doesn't recall writing them, but yet again he doesn't give it much of a thought and begins his day by throwing the dart and hitting the double bullseye. During breakfast, he watches the news about a killer. It's at this moment Yuki realizes the things in his diary are becoming real. At school, the diary even predicted a surprise quiz and a girl cutting her finger. Yuki begins to panic and talks with Deus. But he soon finds out that Deus is not his imagination and the game he told is real. Before Yuki leaves, Deus warns him to not break his phone or else he'll die. At first, Yuki was freaking out, but then he realizes as long as he doesn't break it, he can rule his life. And just like anyone, he starts using the diary to achieve top rankings with a perfect score. And when some students become jealous and try to ambush him, he easily avoids them using it. A sudden rush of confidence and excitement starts filling in Yuki. During one of his tests, as Yuki using his diary, he notices a girl named Yuno staring at him. Before Yuki, she was the top student in the class. So Yuki starts wondering if she is also pissed at him for taking the top spot. After school ends, he is in shock to see a doll of Murmur on her desk. Just then, a static noise comes and he checks his phone. In it, he is notified about his death in a few minutes by a serial killer. Yuki is freaking out. Just then, Yuno enters the class and tells him he is soon going to die. Yuki freaks out and starts running for his life. When he is cornered by her, he finally understands she also has a diary. Thinking she is the serial killer, Yuki grabs his dart to attack her. But suddenly, Yuno just kisses him. She shows him the person standing outside is the killer, who also has a diary just like them. Unlike Yuki, Yuno's diary is different. Instead of her, it shows Yuki's future for every 10 minutes. And because of it, she calls it the Diary of Love. Yuki is freaking out to see he has encountered a serious stalker. According to Yuno's diary, Yuki's death is supposed to be on the 14th floor. So instead of going there, they go to the rooftop. After some time, the killer arrives and starts searching for them. As per Yuno's plan, Yuki is hiding and waiting for her signal. Yuno suddenly appears and distracts the killer. Using this opportunity, Yuki uses his dart to destroy the phone. And as warned by Deus, when the phone breaks, the diary owner also dies. After this, Yuki confronts Deus with anger, asking why there are more people with diaries. Deus takes Yuki to a place called the Cathedral, where other diary owners are also present with their identities hidden. With it, Deus explains the survival game. There are a total of 12 owners, who possess the future diary. They have been numbered from 1 to 12. As of now, we know the first is Yuki, the second is Yuno, and the third one was the serial killer. The diary itself shows the future, but its characteristic is based on what the owners used to journal in their diaries before this game began. The predictions are not absolute. They can be changed as per the owner's action or if another owner takes a different action. In the case of Yuki, he escaped his death when Yuno intervened. The point of this survival game is for them to use their diary to gather information and eliminate the other owners. The one who survives till the end will be granted Deus's throne, meaning he will become the god of space and time. After knowing the rules, everyone starts to leave. But some of them are looking forward to eliminating Yuki. After all, he is the only one who escaped death, and thus, it makes him the biggest threat. But Yuno assures him that she'll protect him, no matter who she has to get rid of. The next day at school, Yuki is worried to realize he can have an encounter with any owner at any time. After everyone leaves for the PE class, a girl named Mine approaches Yuki. She reveals that the serial killer was actually his homeroom teacher. And that's why he is absent today. Yuki is confused as to who she is and why is she saying this. Just then, a static noise comes and Yuki's death is in 3 hours. Yuno comes to protect him, but Mine dodges and before jumping off, only says one word. Die. Suddenly throughout the floor, bombs start to explode. Fortunately, both Yuki and Yuno are safe. Yuno assures Yuki that he doesn't have to worry about anything because she'll kill that woman. Yuki is scared and wonders how a person can talk about killing so easily. But as things going, he doesn't have any option but to use Yuno to escape his death. With the help of their diary, Yuno is easily able to analyze when and where the bomb is going to explode. Outside, Mine is threatening everyone to stay in their class or she'll press the button that will trigger all the bombs. Back in the school, Yuno is worried and wondering about 2 things. First, why Mine didn't kill Yuki when she had the chance. And second, why Yuki's death is still fixed at 2:04 p.m. despite they are avoiding the explosions. Outside, the police have arrived and are ready to take down Mine. But strangely, the police chief, K, issues an order to not kill her. He is also a diary holder, and using it he knows the moment Mine's heart stops, all the bombs will automatically detonate. Back in the school, Yuno and Yuki reunite with their classmates, but strangely, both of them are caught by them. A few minutes ago, Mine made a deal with the school that if they captured Yuki and handed him to her, she would disable all the bombs. And that's why Yuki is being taken to her. His phone is taken away from him and kept at a distance. Throughout the ground, there are landmines. With almost everything being done, Mine threatens everyone to stay in their class or the bomb will trigger and explode. She promises to disable them when she is done with Yuki. Inside the class, Yuno is in a panic. She is determined to protect Yuki, so without any care about anyone, she breaks free and starts running towards him. As a result, the sensors are triggered and the bomb one by one starts to explode. Mine is confused as to what's happening. And just then K, the 4th diary owner, comes to Yuki's rescue. His future diary tells him about all the crimes about to happen in the future. He doesn't care about being a god, he just wants to eliminate all the crimes happening in front of his eyes. Just then, Yuno comes breaking through the window. While Mine is down, with the help of Yuno, Yuki avoids the landmines and takes back his phone. As Mine is about to trigger the landmines, Yuki comes charging at her holding his dart. But he misses the phone and ends up stabbing in her left eye. With her being cornered, she uses the smoke screen and escapes. Afterwards, K with Yuki and Yuno makes an alliance. In order to stop this stupid game, K needs their diary's help to capture the rest of the diary owners. As of now, 5 diary owners' identities have been disclosed. The first and second are Yuki and Yuno. The third was the serial killer. The 4th is K himself. And the 9th is Mine. As of now, the school is temporarily closed for a while. So K wants both Yuki and Yuno to spend time in the amusement park and act as bait to lure Mine. So the following day, as per the plan, both of them arrive at the amusement park. On one side, where Yuki is being cautious, but on the other side, Yuno is enjoying it as a date and hoping to get close to Yuki. As they start to spend time together, Yuki starts to realize that the girl he thought was a crazy stalker is just a cute girl who loves him very much. After enjoying most of the things, for the last event, Yuno wants to go to the planetarium, but Yuki refuses and instead, they go to the Ferris wheel. There Yuno asks him the reason he refused to go to the planetarium when he loves stars so much. Yuki with a scared look asks how did she know it. Yuki has forgotten his first interaction with Yuno, so she recalls the day they had to write about their dream. Both of them had a hard time thinking about it, so they had to stay late in the school. Yuno went up to him and noticed that Yuki wanted to see stars with his parents. But he was unsure about it, as his parents recently divorced. So Yuno asked him if he would want to watch the stars with her, but Yuki refused because he only wanted to go with his family. So as a solution, Yuno promised to be his wife, so then they would see the stars as a family. Hearing this, Yuki wonders how a girl can become so obsessed with such a simple promise. He asks if she is hiding something, but Yuno doesn't answer. She kisses him and says it's a secret. Afterwards, both of them head home. Upon arriving at Yuno's home, while blushing, she requests him to stay with her for the night. Yuki agrees because Kei also told him to stay together until Minae is caught. In the house, there is no other person other than Yuki and Yuno, and strangely, the electricity has been cut off. While Yuno is in the kitchen, Yuki uses his diary to search for the toilet. On the way, he comes across a door, about which there's no entry in the diary. Meaning, if Yuki opens it, the future will change. The moment he opens it, every diary owner's future changes and Deasa's cathedral starts to fall apart. Inside the room lie 3 dead bodies. Yuno suddenly appears with a scary look, saying he shouldn't have opened it. Yuki in panic starts running. He arrives home, but soon after, Yuno also arrives. She starts heavily knocking on the door, requesting him to open it. Yuki tries calling Kei about it, but before that, he receives a message from Yuno about whom is he trying to call. It's at this point that Yuki realizes he just can't escape this freak. After a few minutes, he ends up falling asleep. On the other side, Minae is trying her best to escape from the cops. Using her diary, she knows which route is best, however, the cops are all over the place. Just then, a person approaches her. Minae looks at her diary and sees he is the only way for her escape. So she follows him and ends up in a cabin. The mysterious man has covered his face. He provides Minae with some painkillers. Minae doesn't sense any threat from him, so she decides to take some rest. However, soon her body starts to go numb. But still, her diary doesn't show any threat. Soon the phone turns into a wooden block, and the mysterious man reveals himself as the 11th diary owner. The scene shifts to the next morning. Kei has come to Yuki's house to pick him up. Yuki, remembering yesterday's incident, tries to tell him, but Yuno comes out of the car and stops him by saying she will get embarrassed if he tells anyone what they did last night. As Yuno intended, Kei misinterprets that both of them made love. Without any more delay, they get in the car and Kei reveals that Minae has been caught by a religious group called Omekita. After arriving, they meet with a worker named Orin who guides them to the priestess, Tsubaki. Strangely, she is inside a wooden cage and is revealed to be the 6th diary owner. Her diary shows all of the things her followers will see or experience in the future. The diary is so powerful, Yuki is freaking out. But Tsubaki assures him she isn't interested in becoming a god. She is just a priestess who wants to help her followers. Minae is being kept underground and they are free to take her, but in exchange Tsubaki wants Yuki to spend the night with her. She is notified about her death, which will happen today. And knowing Yuki has escaped death 2 times, she wants him to stay and help her in preventing her death. Yuno is against it. But Kei decides Yuki will stay. Yuki doesn't have any dead flag, so if he can stay and prevent Tsubaki's death, then it's a win-win situation. After Kei leaves, Tsubaki warns Yuki to stay away from Yuno because she will destroy his life. It's not written in her diary, it's just her intuition as a woman. As they are talking, Yuno is getting furious to note Tsubaki is badmouthing her. And now she wants to eliminate her existence. Suddenly, the futon inside the cage starts burning, and a lot of followers in a hypnotized state start entering the room and start attacking each other. Yuki tries to save Tsubaki, but Yuno stops him. She warns him it's a trap and if he stays any longer, he'll die. But Yuki refuses. He'll not trust someone who is hiding dead bodies and isn't hesitant to kill anyone. He calls her a freak and proceeds to help Tsubaki. Fortunately, soon, the sprinklers start working. And with just one shout from Tsubaki, the followers break free from the hypnotism. Tsubaki thanks Yuki for trying to help her. She opens her diary, and upon carefully reading, finds out a mysterious man who pretended to be her follower is hiding in the shrine. Yuno carrying an axe approaches Tsubaki. But just then, Yuki's future changes and he is about to die in 13 minutes by the followers. Soon, the collapsed followers start rising again. To protect Yuki, Yuno starts eliminating them one by one. She gives her hand and asks him to pick either her and live, or pick Tsubaki and die. Yuki just holds both of their hands and escapes. Kei, who fixed the sprinkler, is filled in about the current situation. He tells them to go towards the main gate where the backup is soon going to arrive. He will meet with them after he finds Mine. In the shrine's basement, Mine is tied up. The person who pretended to be Tsubaki's follower is Hirosaka, the 12th diary owner. Just like he hypnotized Mine into believing she was holding her real phone, similarly he is also the one who hypnotized the followers. Hirosaka knows the only way to beat Tsubaki's powerful diary is by creating confusion. His diary notifies him about any injustice about to happen in the future. It's similar to that of Kei's diary. But instead of written memos, they are voice memos. It's because Hirosaka is blind. Despite this disability, Hirosaka has developed sharp hearing. Using it, he knows what's happening above, and it's making him frustrated to see other diary users interrupting his plan. Above, as Yuki and others are running away, the followers start coming back to their senses. Tsubaki stops Yuki and suggests to eliminate the intruder. But Yuno had enough. As she approaches Tsubaki to kill her, just then, Yuki receives a call from Kei about Hirosaka coming after them. He also tells them about him being blind and having sharp hearing. Soon after, 5 people calling themselves the 12th diary owner arrive. They warn Yuki about Tsubaki being evil and this whole religious group being a cult that is involved in many illegal activities. As a person who aims to bring justice, Hirosaka is going to sacrifice himself and eliminate Tsubaki using a bomb. But even after hearing this and Yuno insisting Yuki to escape, he doesn't believe them and isn't ready to leave Tsubaki behind. With no other choice, Yuno decides to eliminate Hirosaka. Knowing he has sharp hearing, she creates a distraction. The person who reacts the first, she instantly eliminates him. After disposing of the body, the bomb explodes. But by this time, Yuno is exhausted. With Hirosaka being eliminated, Tsubaki shows her true colors. She initially planned to get rid of Yuki, Yuno and Kei at once using Mine as bait. But she never thought Hirosaka would be disguising himself as her follower. She reveals she was never a priestess. Ever since she was a child, she had a bad eyesight. But her parents made her a priestess and started fooling people into thinking she had God eyes that see the future. And just like they intended, the number of followers started to increase. But after her parents died in an accident, the head servant named Funatsu took over the shrine. And to increase the followers, he started using her as a way for others to release their sins. Despite going through such things every day, she was able to endure such a disgusting world because she had her mother's handmade ball. However, one day the ball just vanished. And now, after what she has gone through, she will become the god and eliminate this world's existence. In front of Yuno, she kisses Yuki to make her suffer. But even after Hirosaka's death, Tsubaki is in shock to see her death is still pending. One by one, Yuno starts taking out the followers and deals a huge damage to Tsubaki's arm. She gives her phone to Yuki and pushes him to safety. Soon after, she collapses. On the roof, Kei is with Mine. With backup being kept out by the followers, he is in a tight spot. Inside the shrine, Tsubaki has tied up Yuno, and planning to use her as a bait to lure Yuki. Yuki is currently hiding and scolding himself for trusting Tsubaki. He finally realizes Yuno is the one he should have trusted, even though she is a possessive girl with some dangerous secrets. Above everything, she loves him. Just then, an announcement is made. Tsubaki threatens Yuki to come, or else, Yuno will go through the same experience she had to go through. Yuki hears Yuno scream and is not able to bear it. He sees a ball and suspects it's the one that was made by Tsubaki's mother. He takes it and rushes to protect Yuno. He throws the ball, and as expected, Tsubaki, on seeing her mother's handmade ball after so many years, ends up getting distracted. Using this opportunity, Yuki destroys her diary with his dart. With it, Tsubaki dies. Soon, the police enter the shrine and start taking care of the situation. On the way home, Yuki looks at Yuno and ponders, what exactly is this girl? She lives in a house with dead bodies, but is so obsessed with him that she'll do anything to protect him. He couldn't resist but kiss her. On the other side, surprisingly, Mine isn't arrested because Kei has made a secret deal with her. A week later, after picking up his mother from the airport, Yuki is on his way home. Yuki's mother's name is Ria, a programmer who works overseas. Most of the time she is abroad, but occasionally she comes to visit Yuki, like today. Upon arriving, they notices the window's glass is broken. Yuki checks his diary and immediately goes inside to scold Yuno. Yuno, after reading her diary, knew Yuki's mother was coming. So to impress her, she cleaned the house and made dinner. Ria finds her incredibly cute and misinterprets her being Yuki's girlfriend. As she eats the dish, Ria is so amazed by the taste that she requests Yuno to marry her son. Hearing this, Yuno couldn't be more happy. After dinner, Ria shares that her friend's son, Hojo, will come tomorrow and live with them for some days. Hojo's parents were Tsubaki's followers, who died in the Omekida incident. Police haven't revealed to the public what exactly happened, and write off the incident as a mass suicide. It's gotten late, so Ria insists Yuno to spend the night here. Yuno agrees, and while she is in the bath, upstairs, Ria prepares the bed. Before leaving, she teases Yuki and tells him that no babies before getting married. At night, while both of them are lying, Yuno wants Yuki to sleep next to her. But he refuses and clarifies he doesn't like her. Yuno, with a confident tone, says that he will. On the 28th of July, they will make love and become one. Yuki gets embarrassed and goes to sleep. On the other side, Yuno is relieved to know Yuki's mother is a cool person. Or otherwise, she had other plans. The next morning, Hojo arrives. Everyone is mesmerized to see how adorable he is. He starts drawing a picture of Yuno. After cutting it out, he tries to show it to Yuno, but he accidentally slips while holding a scissor. Fortunately, the scissor pierces the cushion and Yuno isn't hurt. Hojo apologizes for being reckless and goes to the washroom. Despite looking like an accident, Hojo did that intentionally. It's because he is the 5th diary owner. His diary is like a drawing book, which shows the future through drawings. Hojo doesn't aim to be a god, he just wants to have some fun. And eliminating Yuki and Yuno is a fun challenge for him. Despite being only 5 years old, Hojo has the intelligence of an adult. To eliminate 2 diary owners, he has brought some tools. Before lunch, he injects poison into the tomatoes. But when Yuki tries eating them, Yuno stops him, because they are heavier than when she washed them. She believes they are spoiled, so she throws them away. Just then, the future changes and Yuki realizes another diary owner apart from him, and Yuno is near. On the other side, Hojo understands that to take down Yuki, he first has to get rid of Yuno. And to pull it off, he plans to electrocute her. Back in the room, the future again changes and Yuki is notified about Yuno's death by electrocution in a few seconds. The moment Hojo puts the wire, the electricity cuts off. It's Yuki who did it by tripping the circuit. And by watching Hojo holding the wires, they both understand he is also a diary owner. At night, when Hojo is asleep, Yuki starts searching for his diary. But Hojo comes out and reminds them, with the tiny brain they have, they can't possibly find his diary. Ignoring him, even the next day, Yuki keeps looking for it. But Yuno had enough. She grabs her hammer and goes straight for the hit, however, she accidentally hits Ria. On witnessing the scene, Yuki is in shock. He quickly puts on the bandages and scolds Yuno for being so reckless. Yuno is very sorry for her actions. Yuki holds her and reminds her that unlike him, she can easily find the diary if she tries. While blushing, Yuno promises she will. Yuno gets serious and starts thinking of possible areas which are accessible to Hojo, and yet no one can find it. Knowing Yuki has searched every corner of the home, she assumes it's outside the home. Yesterday Hojo went to the convenience store with Ria, so she believes he mailed the diary to himself. And just then, the doorbell rings. Yuno alerts Yuki about it, and without any delay, he quickly grabs it. But as he opens it, a poisonous gas starts to leak, and he soon collapses. Hojo praises Yuno for her intelligence. But the package had to be opened from the other side. Yuno takes Yuki inside the bathroom. As the house starts to fill up with gas, Hojo starts knocking on the door and teases Yuno to come out and play with him. But even after minutes, when she doesn't come outside, he starts getting bored. He promises to give the antidote if she can find him in hide and seek. Yuki doesn't want her to go. But Yuno understands how important the antidote is. So she goes out, and first, breaks the windows and puts Ria to safety on Yuki's request. Then she starts searching for Hojo. But Hojo, using his diary, easily switches spots. After thoroughly searching the first floor, Yuno goes upstairs to find him. But she is too late. Hojo combines the bulb with the overflowing water and electrocutes her. Yuki hears the scream. Before Hojo injects the poison, Yuki comes to her rescue. But he soon collapses due to the poison. Yuno gets up in anger. With Hojo being cornered, she stabs him. And as promised, he gives the antidote. Before he dies, Hojo thanks Yuno for playing with him, unlike his parents who were always busy fighting. After he vanishes, Yuno collapses. Soon after, Mine comes and gives the antidote. She received a message from Kei about the fifth owner. So as promised, she came. After some time, Kei with other police officers arrives at Yuki's home. With his help, Ria is told when she was unconscious, an intruder broke into her house and abducted Hojo. As for now, they are trying their best to find him, so she doesn't have to worry. 2 weeks later after the incident, Yuki and Yuno are on their way to their new school. On the way, Yuki notices a person smiling at him. He doesn't give it much of a thought and goes to his school. In this school, with Yuno being in a different class, Yuki is nervous to see a lot of unfamiliar faces. But he soon notices that Ko, who caught him on Minea's orders, is also in the same class. Suddenly, Ko starts speaking loudly, saying, "Isn't Yuki the one who almost killed every one of his classmates? And now he has come here as if nothing happened." Fortunately, 2 students named Hinata and Mao come to Yuki's rescue and stop Ko from bullying him. Soon after, the homeroom teacher enters the class. Recently, another killer is on a rampage. And to make sure the students are safe, the school wants them to enter and exit the school in groups. While he is giving further instructions, Hinata shares how the corpses found were badly injured with a lot of bite marks on them. After school, all 4 of them with Yuno go to visit the site where the bodies were found. Afterwards, they start exploring other areas in the park. Throughout the time, Yuno is keeping her distance. She is not at all pleased to see Yuki's new friends. After spending some more time, Hinata goes ahead to check the surroundings, but there she sees something terrifying. Soon after, a static noise occurs and a new entry is made. Yuki checks the diary and is in shock to read that Hinata is dead. He immediately rushes there and finds her dead body surrounded by a dozen dogs. Everyone is too scared to move. Just then Aki, who is their classmate and also the one who earlier smiled, arrives. He informs them of a nearby observatory for safety. They sprint there and reach it just in time. Aki introduces himself as an aspiring detective. He was already investigating the recent killings, and after researching other recent events, he found out Yuki was strangely related to all of them. Aki isn't suspicious of Yuki. He only followed him thinking he might lead to another crime and hopefully prevent it. A few seconds later, the dogs have completely surrounded the observatory. Yuno believes the person controlling the dogs must be among his new friends, so she suggests Yuki to use them as bait and run away. But Yuki refuses and starts holding the window to keep the dogs out. Using his diary, he predicts the next window that'll break and accordingly instructs others. Everyone follows his guidance, and after 30 minutes, the dogs leave. But suddenly, Mao grabs Yuki's phone and threatens to kill him. Soon after, Hinata makes a shocking entry. Surprisingly, she also has a diary. In return for Yuki's safety, she demands Aki to hand over his diary. A week ago, Hinata's father, Tsukishima, also the 10th diary owner, confessed to her about the recent killings. Tsukishima abandoned his family and poured all his devotion into his dogs. His obsession with dogs is so wild that he would spend an insane amount of money just to feed them the highest grade of meat, and himself he'll eat cup noodles. And as his dogs started to hunt humans, he also ignored it. But he came back to his senses and wanted to start over his life again. And for that, he needed Hinata to get rid of Aki, who had been pursuing him and knew about all his deeds. Hinata wished to have her father back, and that's why she decided to get rid of Aki. After noticing he was keeping an eye on a boy named Yuki, Hinata became friends with him and brought him to the park, so Aki could be lured as well. As she expected, the plan worked. Hinata demands Aki's diary, threatening to kill Yuki. But Aki doesn't want anyone getting hurt, so he suggests a coin flip. If Hinata wins, she gets the diary, but if he wins, Yuki goes free. Hinata finds it lame, but she agrees because she has Yuki's diary. But she starts to become a bit suspicious as to why Aki is playing such a game when he is bound to lose. Hinata tries to be creative. When Aki tosses the coin, despite the diary saying left, she picks right. And just then a static noise is made and the future changes. To Hinata's surprise, the answer was left only. Now, as per the promise, she frees Yuki but keeps his diary, because she wants another round. On the other side, Yuno is suspicious as to why everyone's phone made a static noise except Aki. She pushes him on the floor and notices that his phone is just a normal one. It's revealed that Aki is not a diary owner. He suggested the game hoping to win in pure luck, and now knowing this, Yuno is more furious because he was risking Yuki's life. Aki gets up. He wants to continue to game and win back Yuki's diary. Before starting, Aki shares his plan with Yuno. Yuno agrees to follow, but she still doesn't trust him completely. Aki assures her he will not risk Yuki's life because his love for him is more than a friend. Yuno is just speechless. Soon the final game begins. This time, it's Hinata's turn to toss. She decides to follow Yuki's diary and puts the coin in her right hand. Before Aki answers, Yuno covers Yuki's ears. And then, Aki guesses the right hand, which is correct. And after Yuno takes off her hands, Aki lies to Yuki that he picked left, which is wrong. After telling this, Yuno knocks down Yuki. Hinata is in shock to realize she just lost. The reason Aki won is because Yuki's diary predicts only what he will see and believe. So even if it's a lie, as long as Yuki believes it's true, the diary will also show the same. Suddenly, Mao takes out her knife to attack, but Yuno quickly rushes and stabs her. Hinata pushes Yuno and drops Yuki's phone. While she is grieving over Mao's injury, everyone escapes. But soon she gets up and uses her diary's ability to order the dogs to attack. Yuki is notified about everyone's death. Aki plans that he with Ko and Yuno will distract the dogs, while Yuki will use this opportunity to take care of Hinata. Everyone agrees. But Yuno, instead of following the plan, starts following Yuki. She suggests using Ko and Aki as bait to escape. But Yuki doesn't want to risk his friend's life in danger. He knows, despite what happened, Hinata had the chance to not play the game and use him as a hostage. But still, she played it and fulfilled her promise. Yuki knows that Hinata is not evil, it's her father. With no other choice, Yuno goes ahead and threatens to kill Hinata. Yuki in panic asks her the reason she is trying to keep him away from making friends. The reason Yuno is doing it is because she doesn't want anyone to get close to Yuki, or they'll take him away from her. Yuki can see things would become ugly if he doesn't do anything. So as a solution, he lies that no one will take him away from her, because he loves her and wants to be her boyfriend. Yuno drops the knife and starts blushing. Yuki requests Yuno that as a boyfriend he wants her to accept them as his friend. Yuno happily agrees. Fortunately, the situation is under control, but Yuki understands he did something which can't be taken back. Hinata starts crying and apologizes to his father for failing him. Tsukishima calms her and tells her it's fine. He is a bad father who was trying to escape from his actions by putting the burden on his innocent daughter. He wants to repent for his sins and tells Hinata to stay happy. Afterwards, a loud gunshot noise comes and everyone concludes that Tsukishima has taken his life. But in reality, it's Kei who killed him. The scene shifts to an unknown cabin, where Mine is working on her bombs. A few months ago, when the game began, Mine had an encounter with the third diary owner. But because of his armor, her bullets and bombs were ineffective. With no other choice, she escaped, but during it, she ended up hurting her leg. There she comes across a police officer named Nishijima who was investigating the serial killer. On seeing Mine, who is a wanted criminal, he immediately arrests her and hides inside an abandoned building to avoid the serial killer. Mine has to pee, but Nishijima refuses to unlock the handcuff and goes with her. While doing it, Mine is too embarrassed. When she is done, she tries using the flush, but it's stuck and she ends up using her strength, resulting in breaking it and getting soaked in water. Nishijima notices her trembling with cold, so he picks a dress for her to wear it. At first, Mine refuses, but after a lot of persuasion, she agrees. After changing, Nishijima looks at her and praises her for looking cute. But as Mine blushes and steps back, she trips and Nishijima ends up falling and accidentally grabbing her melons. He apologizes for it, but on seeing Mine's girly side he got a bit excited. Now to escape from the killer, Mine comes up with a plan. Accordingly, Nishijima distracts the killer and lures him into a room. Afterwards, they close the door and Mine uses her flashbang, which creates a loud noise. After escaping from there, surprisingly, she shoots Nishijima and runs away. As a girl who was born amidst war, she hasn't felt or acted like a girl. To fix this corrupt world, she will become the god. The next morning, Yuki is invited by Aki to hang out. But unexpectedly, Yuno comes and shares she is also invited by Aki. Yuki realizes he has been set up by Aki for a date after he confessed his love. After a few minutes of traveling, they arrive at a bridal fair. It's a place chosen by Aki for their date. Inside the hall, they meet with Kei's wife who works as a staff. She becomes their guide for the day. After having lunch, both Yuno and Yuki change their dress and have a photo session. Yuki wants to tell her the truth before things become worse, but on seeing how happy Yuno is, he believes it's fine if he tells her later. Afterwards, they have a chapel wedding as well. Even though it's an act, Yuki is uneasy. The things he saw in her house are hard to forget. If he could forget about it, maybe he could fall in love with her for real. After that, Yuki takes her to her house. Upon entering, Aki is inside. He purposefully sent them to the date so he could investigate Yuno's house. He was hoping to find some bodies, but he ended up finding a very deep hole. Yuki is in disbelief. He asks Yuno about the bodies he saw, but Yuno seems to lose her memories. In fact, she believes it's Yuki's first time visiting her home. On the way home, Aki shares that Yuno's mental state is fragile, so she likely overrode her memory. After they part ways, the scene shifts to the police station, where Kei discusses the dead body of Tsukishima found in his mansion. Surprisingly, the two suspects are Yuno and Yuki, and he issues orders to arrest them within 24 hours. The secret deal made by Kei and Mine was to make sure he'd help her by giving the info about the police so she could escape them, and in return, he wanted her to aim to become God. Yuki isn't trying to become a god, so for Kei, Mine is the right one because she has gone through a tragic past and understands the importance of a world without war. The scene shifts to Yuki walking and wondering about what he saw at Yuno's house. But suddenly, he gets surrounded by Nishijima and other officers. He is taken to the station, and soon Yuno also joins him. Kei, while looking at his diary, tells Nishijima to first bring Yuki in 5 minutes. Back outside, seeing Yuki is nervous, Yuno promises to protect him even if she has to get rid of everyone in this police station. After 5 minutes, Yuki is called up inside the room. Kei asks if he or Yuno killed Tsukishima as they were spotted near his mansion on that day. Yuki immediately refuses. Kei assures him he already knew it. As a police chief, he had to interrogate him as they were suspects. Yuki is glad to hear it. But strangely, Kei forces him to play Russian roulette. Outside, Yuno receives a new entry. Even after being free from suspicion, Kei kept Yuki inside the room for another 10 minutes. Yuno loses her cool and while carrying a fire extinguisher, she walks towards the interrogation room. Inside the room, Kei fired 4 shots and all were empty. With only 2 remaining, he points the gun at Yuki. But before he can pull the trigger, Yuno enters and shoots Kei multiple times. Injured Nishijima arrives, but as Yuno is about to shoot him, Yuki stops her. Yuno comes back to her senses and is glad to know she protected Yuki. While taking Nishijima as a hostage, they escape. Kei is still alive, he only lost an ear and his vest stopped most of the bullets. But now, Yuno is charged with assault and attempted murder. And as he expected, all the entries about her start coming in his future diary. Yuno and Yuki are being chased by police. But when one of the police fires a warning shot, Yuki freaks out and in panic ends up shooting the police. Kei is notified about it. Everything is according to his plan. His diary only shows entries of criminals. So now by creating such a situation, he can keep track of both of them. He issues orders to arrest them, and if they resist, the officers are free to fire. Yuki is notified about his and Yuno's death by Kei. They arrive at the rooftop. Yuno kisses him and both of them jump. They safely landed on the truck and manage to escape. But from the next day, they become wanted and the police begin searching for them. They are hiding inside a storehouse and haven't eaten anything since morning. Soon they notice that Kei's wife is heading to the hospital. Yuki gets curious and starts following her. On the way, a bomb suddenly explodes. Mine appears and takes Yuki hostage, but he messes up the button and a bomb explodes wrongly because of which they get stuck. Using a ladder, as Yuki starts crossing, Mine stops him. She realizes she will not escape alive as things are going. So she decides to form an alliance with them. In return for her safe escape, she will tell them the reason Kei betrayed them. But just then, she receives a call from Kei. Because of his diary, he knows what's happening. So before he arrives at the hospital, he tells Mine to not let them escape. But she refuses and hangs up the phone. Soon, she also receives a death entry. After crossing the ladder, they go inside a room, where Kei's wife and their son are. He is terminally ill with 3 months remaining. Apart from wanting Mine to become the god, Kei also wanted her to cure his son's illness. But now that he is after her life, Mine will use them as hostages and will destroy his diary. Soon after, the police completely surround the hospital. Back in the room, after tying up Kei's wife, Mine assigns the roles. Yuki will scout, and Yuno will keep a watch on the hostages. Before Yuki leaves, Mine gives him a grenade. Afterwards, she calls Kei to propose a deal. In return for his sons and wife's lives, Mine asks Kei to prepare a getaway car for them and to kill himself. But to her surprise, Kei refuses to cooperate. He knows the chances of his son's survival are very low. So now, the only choice he has is to become God himself. He hangs up the phone, and the police force begins infiltrating the hospital. Yuki is notified about the deal failure, but it's too late. The police are everywhere and arrest him. As Kei approaches, Yuno comes in time and starts taking down the cops. Kei manages to take Yuki hostage. But Yuno grabs the grenade and threatens to unpin it. Kei frees Yuki and tells Yuno to put down the grenade. But she unpins it and rushes towards him. On the other side, Mine plants a time bomb in a different room. After she escapes through the window, she yet again has an encounter with Nishijima. Both of them freak out. Nishijima grabs her, but just then a light comes out. The grenade Mine gave to Yuki was a flash grenade, so fortunately, everyone is safe. However, soon the time bomb explodes, and as a result, Yuki with others falls down. As he wakes up, Yuki manages to grab a gun, but Kei takes Yuno hostage. Yuki, in panic, checks his diary and finds out that if he shoots, he'll miss and Yuno will die. Yuno sees the future and insists him to shoot. If dying is for Yuki's sake, and by him, she is more than happy. Even though she knew he lied about loving her as a girlfriend, still the memory they shared was enough. Their wedding photo drops. Yuki looks at it and remembers the time they both shared. He tells Yuno that they are both going to live and marry. As Yuki stops panicking and starts gaining his composure, the future starts to change. He pulls the trigger, and the bullet hits Kei. Kei is desperate to become God. As he raises his knife to attack Yuno, Nishijima and Mine arrive. Nishijima heard the voice recording of Kei's plan to entrap Yuno and Yuki. Kei looks at his diary and accepts his fate. Unknowing both his son and wife are safe, he happily breaks his phone and before vanishing, apologizes to Yuki. The scene shifts to a different dimension, where Deus is angry at Murmur because she altered the future. Kei was supposed to know about his son's illness much later, and thus his fight with Yuki was supposed to be later as well. But because Deus's life is soon going to end, Murmur hurried things, so the next god can be chosen quickly. Deus isn't pleased and warns Murmur to never again interrupt the game. The following day, Yuno and Yuki are free of the accusations. Fortunately, the cop Yuki shot survived, and with the help of voice recording, Nishijima took care of the case. Mine has yet again escaped, but it seems for some time, both of them can share some time as a couple. Yuki together with Yuno is going to the mountains to watch the stars as he promised. While he goes to the bathroom, Aki sends a message to him. But because Yuki's phone is with Yuno, she reads it. In it, Aki is warning Yuki to stay away from Yuno at all costs. On reading this, Yuno is pissed and deletes the message. If you enjoyed the recap, please consider liking and subscribing this channel. Have a wonderful day ahead.